In this state, every football season begins with anticipation, wonderment, and anxiety. Even more so when a new quarterback takes the helm. Zach Lee looking left, throwing left, pass is complete to home. Has some running room. Lee going down the middle, wide open, Gillian, and he will score. Touchdown, Nebraska. It was a solid first impression. The Huskers will be just fine with Lee as their general. But Zach wasn't the entire attack. Roy put on a hell of a show himself. What a move! Hellu gets away, breaks through. He may be gone. Kiss Roy Hellu goodbye. It was a dominating performance, to say the least. But week 2 has arrived, and with it comes a new opponent and another challenge. Can the Huskers take the next step? Live from the heart of Husker Nation, it's Game 2. Nebraska and Arkansas State next. Second start. I think he did a pretty good job in game number 1. By the way, Arkansas State won the toss. They deferred. That kind of surprises me, Kelly. They deferred. You think they'd want the football first.
Yeah, I think it's always that, I think this day and age, the adage that you take it in the second half once you've had a chance to kind of see how the game is playing out.
Ryan Wilborn's kick. It's going to be Rex Burkhead. He lets it bounce around, and Nebraska will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Roy Hellu's first carry, and he picks up 4. Take a look at the rest of the starters for Nebraska on the line. Keith Williams was able to practice this week beginning Tuesday, but Derek Myers probably going to get the start again today at left guard. You want to hold out Keith. He's ready to play, but give him another week's rest. At the skill position, Holt Gillian really stepped up in week 1, but look for Niles Paul to be what coaches like to call the target today. And Niles Paul is flanked wide to the right. 2nd down and 6. Lee will put it up for the first time this afternoon. Deep out route to McNeil. Ball is hit, and that falls incomplete. Arkansas State's defense, they're experienced, 8 starters back, which allows them to do pretty much anything they want this afternoon. Alex Carrington will play on Sundays, but Brian Hall, he's able to wreak havoc from that defensive tackle spot. Linebackers, this is a must. They've got to be productive today versus the run game. McKinnon is their leader. Secondary, last week they lost their best safety to injury. Quarterbacks are going to be tested. Walker is solid, but Mingo, he may be the target of the passing game today by Nebraska. 3rd down and 6. Ball's on the 24-yard line. Lee, here comes pressure up the middle. They read it. His pass is complete to McNeil. 1st down up to the 35-yard line. Great patience by Zach Lee as they pick up 11.
Arkansas State chose to go nickel that time and a sure passing down, and they were bringing pressure right up the middle there. The center, Jacob Hickman, comes off late and gives Lee a great look down the field at McNeil. It's a very good job when you have a wily center that can pick up all that traffic inside, and that was the key on that play right there for Zach Lee.
Now Drew Young moves over to the tight end spot. Far right side, didn't play in game 1. The running game not going anywhere. Hellu will probably get back to the line of scrimmage. Demario Davis, sophomore from Brandon, Mississippi, on the stop. You know, when we talk about Roy Hellu, one of the things the coaches have stressed this week, we've got to get him in rhythm. Now, last week, Kelly, Roy's telling us that he felt he was a little impatient in that first half.
Yeah, and I think he was. In his own scheme, you have to press the line of scrimmage, and then you have to kind of get one cut and downhill. Roy Hellu's strength is getting his shoulders square and getting up to that second level in a heartbeat, and Arkansas State is going to try to do what they did there and make him move to the sideline.
This time Lee keeps it, gets to the outside, has a man deep in the flat, but he tucks it, runs it up to the 46-yard line. That'll be a 1st down, another pickup of 11 for Darius Mingo coming up from that quarterback spot.
And we know that Zach Lee has good feet and can move the football. This is something we didn't see a lot of last week. It's a zone read, but it's really play-action pass. Very good instincts outside the pocket, but right here, he has to learn how to get down. You don't want Cody Green to have to play early in this season, maybe not at all this year, other than in mop-up situations. Lee has to stay healthy.
Lee had 14 yards rushing last week, already 11. Now Lee up down to the 45-yard line. It'll be about a yard short of the first down. Pickup of 9. M.D. Jennings coming up on the stop. But I like what they're doing with Roy because Sean Watson basically says, we're going to run Roy, get him in rhythm. When he gets tired, then we'll go to Rex Burkhead.
And that's really what I want to see is how those touches develop in the rushing game, because you know that Helu Jr. can carry the football. We've already seen him be productive last year and already started this year. There you see Sean Watson. We're going to have to see who takes up the slack in that run game, because Helu Jr. is not going to be able to carry it 30 times a game.
A three-step drop, pump fake, go route, near side, looking for Gillian. He's got it inside the 10. They'll mark it at about the 3-yard line. Mingo on the coverage, but it covers 40 yards.
And Gillian was playing down at the bottom of the screen, and it was actually a double move. Watch the pump here by Zach Lee right there. That's when Gillian was running by the coverage. Kind of a stop and then go, and an absolutely perfect pass and a perfect catch. That's truly a fade route, Ron. You fade him to the sideline on the end of that. Great throw, great catch.
Now they'll go from the I formation, 1st and goal from the 3, wide open, touchdown Tyler Legate. The redshirt freshman's first score as a Husker.
Well, Ronnie, that didn't take long, did it?
Not a bit, and he hooks up with his roommate, Zach Lee. Not too shabby.
Established the run game, a little play action pass, double move on the outside. The next thing you know, you're in the end zone.
Henry for the extra point. Good snap, good hold, good kick. He's perfect on the year, 8 for 8. But they hook up for the first score, and it didn't take them long. Inside of 4 minutes, Nebraska leads at 7-0. Out of the backfield. Lee going in the end zone, has a man. Touchdown, Mike McNeil and the Huskers. Our coach is telling us yesterday they put pressure, a lot of pressure on Zach Lee this week. Made him operate it with a 35-second clock.
Yeah. I think that was the big thing to get the play from the sideline, and what Zach Lee wanted to do last week is go to the sideline to get the play. You don't have time to do that with the 40-second clock in today's college football.
Let's see if Roy Helu Jr. can get things going. This time he stacked up after a pickup of 3. Kari Mays, the senior out of Memphis, Tennessee, had 1 tackle last week. Helu had 3 carries for 12 yards coming into that tote.
Remember what Sean Watson told us yesterday, Ron, that when he started watching film on this Arkansas State defense, it looked familiar. Well, when Bo Pelini was at Louisiana State, he taught some of these coaches some of this defensive scheme. So there are a lot of similarities between Arkansas State's defense and Nebraska's defense.
Now Roy Helu turns into a wide receiver, empty backfield into the flat, complete to Holt. Up to the 25-yard line, pickup of about 3 on the play. DeMario Davis on the coverage. Malik Hope had 3 catches last week for a touchdown, and coaches say that one thing they had a criticism of, don't go into the end zone holding the ball out.
Yeah, Ted Gilmore said, act like you've been there before, and they will learn from that. But those receivers, they have the athletic ability to be a very good group, catching and blocking. They just have to get it done on a consistent basis.
3rd down, we'll call it 4. Lee putting it up, now he tucks it. He'll get the first down, looks for the sideline, and gets it as he gets up to the 33-yard line. So we're seeing a completely different dimension for Zach Lee, who had 14 yards rushing last week, and he's probably almost close to double that this week.
Yeah, and when you have a quarterback that can leave the pocket on 3rd and medium range and pick up the first down, it's a tremendous asset. He went through his progression, receiver 1, receiver 2, nothing was there. His feet are a good 3rd option.
Inside of 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Nebraska leads at 7-0. Lee again putting it up into the flat. Holt makes the catch. First down Nebraska. Mingo on the coverage. We thought they would try to take care of Mingo because he's only 5'11". 2 years ago he was a JC All-American, but he's going up against a guy that's 6'4", allowed him to get 11 on that play.
Well, there you see the influence of Sean Watson. They're probing right now to find favorable matchups, and that's one of them. Mingo on Holt or the other receivers, Paul, that's a good matchup if you're a Nebraska fan.
Well, obviously Nebraska going with a lot of passing in this first quarter. This time, Lee just tucks it and keeps it, picks up 3. Stanley Wakwe coming up, the senior from Little Rock, Arkansas Tech to make the stop. Interesting way they're calling the plays now with Zach Lee.
Yeah, the play action pass, but this was a designed read, and the reason you can tell that is because the center is getting, actually Mike Smith is getting out in front on that play. The tackle is pulling. When you have a personal escort for the quarterback, that's an indication that it is a designed run. We didn't see any of those last week.
We saw Arkansas State changing personnel. They said they're going to change personnel when Nebraska does. They've got to try to match up with them. Hello gets into Red Wolves territory, crosses the 50 down to the 49-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play. Kari Mays on his second tackle of the night.
If you're watching this at home, try to at times focus on the line of scrimmage as opposed to following the football. And right now what you're going to see is Nebraska is resetting the line of scrimmage about 3 or 4 yards deep into Arkansas State's backfield. If they can continually do that and control the football like that, it's going to be a long afternoon for Arkansas State.
Well, Zach Lee on the pitch, back to Hellu, gets the corner, scampers over the 45-yard line down to the 43-yard line. Chris Brooks coming up with a nice block, the senior out of St. Louis, Missouri. Another first down for Nebraska. Now here's how they call the plays. Ron Brown, the tight ends coach on the left side, he gets the signal from Sean Watson. He gives it to one reel and one decoy on the side. They give Zach Lee the number. He looks at his wristband. Then he tells the team. Now, the last play, he came up to the line of scrimmage with about 15 on the play clock.
Yeah, 15 on the play clock at the line of scrimmage is okay.
How about a little slip screen to Hellu? Breaks a couple of tackles, gets down to the 30-yard line. Another first down for the Huskers. Another 11-yard pickup.
Yeah, and Ron, what you saw there is Zach Lee is standing in the huddle getting the play, and he's doing a much better job. This defensive line is starting to get lathered up a little bit. Nebraska's been throwing the football. They want to get after Zach Lee. So what do you do if you're Sean Watson? Slip screen. It's really a blitz regulator, and you try to slow down that defensive front.
Chris Brooks in the slot, top of your screen. 1st and 10 from the 30. Lee's having success throwing the ball, and he continues to have success. Holt again with another reception for Menelik Holt. That'll be his 3rd catch of the afternoon. That covers 16.
And that's that matchup again. Mingo, the number 1 for Arkansas State, and at the top is Holt. He's just going to run an out route with Gilling clearing out the middle. Good throw, good catch, but that's not a matchup right now that is favoring Arkansas State.
No, Dalen Walker got completely turned around. On the run game, not much going on there. Maybe a pickup of 2 as we go inside of 2 minutes left to play in the opening quarter. Stanley Wakwe again on the stop. But when we look at Menelik Holt, we look at Gillian coming in. Coming out of fall or spring camp and also heading into fall, it was Niles Paul and, gee, we don't know who else.
Exactly right.
But Holt and Gillian have now stepped up. They're high on Kyrie Cooper, the redshirt freshman. They're high on Kenny. So now we're gradually seeing receivers step into the picture. Hello to the left of Zach Lee. And he slips out of the backfield. Lee going to the end zone, has a man. Touchdown, Mike McNeil and the Huskers. McNeil had 6 touchdown receptions last year. This is his first this year. He had 4 catches last week, but he gets into pay dirt today at covered 13. About a little razzle-dazzle reverse. Niles Paul looks for a block, gets it. He's going to take it to the house. Seeing the results of stressing speed development, explosion, and flexibility, which they did coming into last year's season. After the penalty, ball marked back to the 13-yard line. Difficult place for Arkansas State. Leonard has some time, throws to no one in particular. I think McLennan was the intended receiver, but again, the pocket was collapsing on him. Matt O'Hanlon on the coverage. There's a good look at Steve Roberts, the head coach of Arkansas State, who's really turned this program around. He's done a great job as the head coach of this team. He's got these guys believing they can actually win in his 8th year. 87 and 80 in 16 seasons. Was the Sun Belt Conference Coach of the Year in 05 when he led them to the conference title. Says we're coming into this game not for a paycheck. We want to win the ball game. 2nd and 10. It's Arnold. No, check that. It's Leonard keeps it up to the 16-yard line. Pick up a 3 on the play. Matt O'Hanlon had a nice game against Florida Atlantic. Coming up to make the stop.
Ron, that's a good example of how when Corey Leonard keeps the ball on that zone read right there, you can see number 99, Barry Turner, going down inside, and then it's who is the next defender outside that needs to keep contained. First of all, I think Barry Turner didn't read that very well, but you saw the good defense outside of that. That's the key to running or defending this spread option offense.
Check out Lance Perella on the stop. Final 20 seconds. 3rd down and 6. Nebraska rushes forward, and Leonard is going to be dropped inside the 5. Jared Crick lowered the pads, and he was joined by Ndamukong Suh. But Crick, the sophomore from Cozad, Nebraska, that's what we were expecting from him this game. -12 on the play. And the true freshman, Rex Burkhead, who had 32 yards rushing last week and a touchdown, is into the lineup. Lee going down the middle, has a man, and is there going to be a flag? No. Looked as though that Dalen Walker was draped all over the intended receiver.
And I think you're right. I think it wasn't the hand that was reaching for the ball. It's the hand that's on the back of Niles Paul when the defender reaches up. But Niles Paul is going to have no safety in the middle. That means quarterback for Zach Lee is going to go down the middle. There's no deep threat by a safety. This safety's being held up inside.
Well,
Zach Lee went to the right place, threw the right ball, but that was a decent defensive play. But right here at the end, I think the contact was a little premature with the offhand, in this case the right hand.
Nice throw though by Lee. This time he dumps it off to Burkhead, gets close to the 1st down, and he should have it. Davis on the stop, a sophomore from Brandon, Mississippi. This Rex Burkhead comes in with a lot of cred. So everybody's talked about this young man out of Plano, Texas, and I think Sean Watson is very impressed with him. Not only the way he runs the football and catches, but his pass protection, which sometimes freshmen don't do well, Kelly.
Yeah, pass protection and hanging onto the football is what you always question about young running backs, but right now Rex Burkhead has a reputation of doing both very well.
Well, let's see who they call it on. Looked like Brian Hall got a little jump there for Arkansas State, but was he drawn? Hall, the junior out of Paducah, Kentucky.
Offside, defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And Ron, Brian Hall is really the guy up in front that Sean Watson was most impressed with. You have Alex Carrington, 98. You can see him jumping right there. You're that close to the football, big boy. You're supposed to be seeing the ball move before you move.
Yeah.
But that's really Brian Hall's skill set, is he has a great get off from that defensive tackle position.
So far for Nebraska, 10 runs, 11 passes. How about a little razzle-dazzle reverse? Niles Paul looks for a block, gets it. He's going to take it to the house. Yards on the reverse. They worked on it in practice yesterday, but you got to give kudos to big 65 Mike Smith, the 6'6 junior out of Vegas, from that left tackle spot.
We showed Sean Watson a couple times on the afternoon, and he told us yesterday that Niles Paul needs to become one of his target guys, and you see that. How can I get him the football? Well, that's a pretty darn good way right there.
And the extra point by Henry is good. Another impressive drive, albeit a short drive for Nebraska. We've played just over a minute in quarter number 2, and the Huskers pitching another shutout courtesy of Niles Paul, taking it in on the reverse. Pitch to the left. Leonard changing the play at the line. The senior out of Covington, Louisiana. Locks onto his receiver on the left side, and that is Taylor Clements, the senior out of Chico, California. His first catch of the year. Eric Haig on the coverage. He locked on right from the get-go.
Yeah, he did. And it's really kind of a pressure management type of throw, and Arkansas State likes to do that with their screen game and their quick hitches. And Nebraska has to try to match up correctly in terms of their personnel, whether they go nickel or whether they go dime. And right now, Carl Pelini's doing a very good job of having the right personnel on the field at the right time.
Now they go one back, and they'll run it. Here's Don Jones, the redshirt freshman out of Town Creek, Alabama, Hazelwood High School. First reception last week in his career was a touchdown. They like him. They've got a nice little trio of running backs here with Arnold, Lawson, and Jones. And Carl Pelini knows that this team, Arkansas State, is built to run the football on that zone blocking.
And if you're Nebraska and Carl Pelini, you isn't necessarily bend but don't break, because they want to be aggressive defensively. But here in 3rd and 3, this is where you have to make a play to get off the field.
Arkansas State 2 of 4 on 3rd down this afternoon. Straight ahead over the right side, and that'll be close to a first down. Pierre Allen was hanging on to Reggie Arnold.
And you can see the chess game going on. A lot of times on 3rd down against Nebraska, because people fear their blitz package, a lot of times offenses will get big, get an extra offensive lineman or tight end in the game, and an extra running back, and try to run right at Nebraska to avoid that blitz package.
Well, it is 4th down, less than a yard to go. The crowd is standing. High formation for Arkansas State. Reggie Arnold at the top of the eye, Blake from the fullback. Leonard keeps it, rolls, fires, pass, caught at the 2-yard line. Jabari McClellan, what a nice job by the senior out of Austin, Texas. 20 yards on the pickup. Nice play call also by Doug Ruse, the offensive coordinator.
And he's up at the top as McClellan matched up on Anthony West, but this is called a break on the throw. Watch the quarterback, Leonard, get outside the pocket and throw to the back shoulder. The receiver has view of the football. The defender doesn't. There was a little bit of a push off, but if it's not blatant, it's not going to be called. Very good route and a very good throw.
3rd reception of the year for McClellan, his longest of the season. Now Leonard just tucks it, keeps it, puts the head down, and he's going to go nowhere. Probably got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe picked up a foot, and Ndamukong Suh going low to try to stop things up. You know, talking to a couple of NFL scouts earlier this afternoon, I said, give me your thoughts on Suh, and both of them, I'm not going to say what teams they're from, don't want to embarrass the guy, I said, he's the real deal.
Oh yeah, I think he brings everything that a defensive lineman needs to bring. He's very quick off the ball. He has very good hands as he's learning how to play with his hands, and now he's learning how to play with purpose and passion. He's the real deal, I believe that.
Nebraska 5 quarters without giving up a touchdown this season. Can Arkansas State put the kibosh on that? Arnold leaning forward, touchdown Arkansas State. So with 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the opening half, Leonard with outstanding field position to begin this drive, hooks up on a crucial 4th down play with McClellan, then Arnold cleans things up with a touchdown run of just over a yard, and Carl Pelini sees the touchdownless streak come to an end. There's Steve Roberts. He has to be happy the way his team responded after having about 39 yards in the first quarter. And the extra point is no good. Josh Arauco, who missed 2 last week, they were blocked, said it was just a blocking problem, misses his 3rd of the season. But Arnold comes up with the touchdown, his 5th touchdown of the season. And the Wolves have cut the Huskers lead down to 21-6. Zach Lee with only Helu joining him to the left side as we close in on 5 minutes left to play in the half. Pass is complete. Niles Paul. You know, you talked about targeting him. We saw it last year with Nate Swift, that target person, and I think we've seen the reverse with Paul. We've seen a couple of. He's actually going to be targeted.
Yeah, He is being targeted today, and I think Mike McNeil is another one. But Sean Watson said it this way, and I totally agree with it. Early in camp and early even last week, it was about getting number 5, Zach Lee, ready, and now they can start to kind of game plan more specifically to target players and get him touches.
After the pickup from 13, Helu cuts back, bounces to the outside, down to the 48-yard line. Tempo was something we talked about at the top of the show. Targeting him. Watch the tempo again, and this is, we've been watching this all game. Getting the play in quickly and getting to the line of scrimmage. They want to make sure they're at the line with about 15 on the play clock. And actually, they beat that, Kelly, on this one. You see Ron Brown, the
They're not to the line yet. Don't give them that. 19. Yep. Okay, they're safe. You're exactly right. 19 seconds or so around the line of scrimmage. That's plenty. The quarterback wants to get up there with as much time as possible to see the defense and let his offensive lineman take a look at that defensive front 7.
Allows him to snap it with 3. Pass is complete. Chris Brooks came into this season with only 3 career receptions, 1 last week. Greg Hardy on the coverage, the middle linebacker. He's able to pick up 10.
You know, one of the things last week that we found out happened in the huddle, Zach Lee was being so deliberate. And the wily veteran center, Jacob Hickman, steps up and said on the sideline to a coach, "Can you please just tell him to call the play? We know what we're doing."
And as a former quarterback, you appreciated that,
totally.
didn't you?
I appreciate both sides of it. I've been the deliberate one, but I've also had a big center tell me to get my act together.
Now Zach Lee dropping back deep into the flat. Again, right on the money to Paul, trying to get away, but he gets down to the 25-yard line. Again, they're picking on Cordarius Mingo.
And Mingo tends to play more of a boundary corner where this is the middle of the field, but this is Mingo down here, and this is Niles Paul matched up on him. That's the matchup that Sean Watson is going to exploit. Until you do something about it, Arkansas State, I will throw there until the cows come home or this game's over, whichever comes first. Mingo is the guy being picked on. We saw Walker the time they threw over there, made a nice break on the play. I think they're going to the right place.
And here's Helu, left side down to the 20-yard line. Pickup of about 5.5 on the play. With 3 minutes left to play in the second half, Nebraska again knocking on the door in the red zone. Brown on the stop.
And another aspect to that matchup, Ron, early in Zach Lee's career, Sean Watson is dividing the field in half and a lot of times having mirrored routes on either side. And so what it means is go to your best matchup because you have the same routes on both sides. These guys here typically in route running will do the same thing. And Mingo is that guy that's being picked on.
8 different wide receivers with a reception. This time no protection. It breaks down. And Zach Lee's going to be sacked for the second time this afternoon. Harold coming up with the sack.
Harold and Davis, and really they were bringing 2 linebackers right up the middle. There's one, and it's a poor block with Mike McNeil on number 23, Davis on the other one. Davis shouldn't have been a factor. Number 40, Harold, didn't seem like he was accounted. And you see Helu jumping up in the end. A running back taking play action. When there's blitz coming, you have to forget the play fake, and you have to go get your head into the thighs of that run defender.
Nice job by Harold, the redshirt freshman. Little shuttle to Helu. Has running room, breaks a tackle inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line. Marcus Brown coming up again from that free safety spot. Helu's biggest gain of the afternoon. That's worth 18 yards.
Nebraska gets a little pressure from Arkansas State, so what do? Invite the rush and flip it with the shuttle pass up front and get it to your ball carrier. But that's another blitz regulator. When the defense starts getting heated up a little bit, Sean Watson will do things like that. Draws, screens, and quick throws.
That's considered a pass. Second reception for Helu, 29 yards on the receiving end. Lee, straight drop. This time he's got time. McNeil at the 10, and he is going to be swarmed over by 5 white jerseys led by Kelsey McCray.
McNeil catching the football is really the outlet receiver out in the flat out of that bunch formation. But McNeil is a very good route runner, and he has very good hands. He has kind of a natural feel for the passing game. What they want McNeil to do You can see the bunch right here, and it explodes really, and you get receivers going 3 different directions, and McNeil is just coming out to the flat right there, setting down on the numbers as the outlet. But he has to learn to block in blitz protection, pass protection, and setting the edge much better than he is currently.
On second down and goal, nothing doing for Hellu. Mingo coming up with run support, but for McNeil, that's 6 straight games now. At least 3 receptions, as that was his 3rd. Hellu now in the backfield, 3rd down and goal from the 9. 3-step drop. Lee looking for the end zone. Passes tip. No, incomplete. Niles Paul, the intended receiver. Nice coverage by Walker.
Who'd you say the coverage was by?
Dalen Walker.
Exactly. We had a Gillian matched up on Mingo down here at the bottom of the screen, and you had mirrored routes once again. I think that's a mistake. Even though you have a little bit more room up at the top, I think the better matchup is down here. You're on the right hash, so throwing the fade, you have more room. And I can understand why Zach Lee was probably coached to go to the fade where you have more room to the back corner, but I like the matchup to offset that room on that play.
Maher, the new holder, the redshirt freshman. Henry, the field goal attempt. And it is good. His first one of 2009, the most accurate kicker in Nebraska history. That covered 26 yards, and the Huskers added their lead 24-6 with 9 seconds left to play in the opening half.
Maybe in the second half they'll try to spread it out and try to throw it just a little bit more.
Now Reggie Arnold, the outstanding back, goes in motion. This team goes as Corey Leonard goes. 2 to snap it, no problem. Arnold, maybe 1.5 yards on the play. Compton and Crick come up to make the stop. Compton, the redshirt freshman, who last year we saw him grow up a lot. Midway through the second quarter, he really got control of this defense.
The quarterback is again reading to this side. This is option number 1, but when the quarterback goes this way, that's what Nebraska is going to have to worry about. And you can see right there, Pierre Allen did a nice job of what they call checking the quarterback. If he comes my way, I'm contained. I'm going to make sure I carry out my assignment.
And again, they empty the backfield. Leonard tucks it over the 20 up to the 25-yard line. He's going to be shoved back, but he should get the first down. Mukamara on the stop. Coming up from that cornerback spot. We look at Corey Leonard. You know, you look at him, he's one of these guys that's just able to make plays.
And this is what makes the spread truly a spread, when you're willing to let your quarterback be a running back. And that's what Arkansas State likes to do. And this is really good preparation for Nebraska's defense. The rest of their schedule, for the most part, outside of maybe Colorado at the end of the year, everyone in the Big 12 has a quarterback that's willing to run the football.
Now McLennan split wide to the near side. First down and 10. Arnold off the left side, bounces off one tackle, keeps his feet up to the 33-yard line. I'll pick about 7 on the play. Matt O'Hanlon. The yards after contact by Reggie Arnold, the guy they call Monster. This guy keeps his balance. He doesn't go down easily.
And that's where the linebackers, the young linebackers for Nebraska, have to come into play. It starts with zone blocking up front. Arkansas State working in tandem going to the right, and then it's the cutback right there. Blake Lawrence, number 40, is there. One of those young. You have to secure the tackle. You're there to make the play. You have to make the play.
Well, Pierre Allen looked like he ran by that. Here's Derek Lawson, and he is going to be stacked up. Maybe lost a yard on the play. And you talked about Blake Lawrence, the junior from Shawnee Mission. This is a guy that just came up and made that play, kind of made up with it.
Well, let's take another look. Watch number 40 right here. Read, diagnose, go downhill. That's exactly how you do it. Once you know where the ball is coming, go attack the football. That's all about Bo and Carl Pelini. Attack the football. Blake Lawrence is that guy trying to overcome the 3 concussions that he had.
Right.
He can be more of a veteran, experienced presence at that linebacker second level if he can stay out there and make some plays.
3rd down and 3. Arkansas State 2 of 5 in the afternoon on 3rd down. From the shotgun, Lawson stood up at the line of scrimmage, leans forward. He'll be short of the 35. Mukamara again on the stop, and that probably will bring up a 4th down.
Mukamara is having a very, very nice day, and the run protection around the outside with that running back. you're going to have to secure the quarterback the other way. But right there, 21 coming up and not just getting there where he's supposed to be, but making a very nice tackle and holding a big running back about a half a yard short of the first down.
5 tackles for Amukamara, and that'll force Wilborn to punt with the orange shoes and everything going for him. And he looks to angle this away. Nice spiraling kick. Niles Paul at the 23-yard line. Heads to his right, far side. Running out of real estate, gets up to about the 33-yard line.
Nebraska had a wall set up to that side, and what you have to do is Niles Paul has to make the initial guys miss, get to the top of that wall, and then the guys blocking that wall can't let any leakage, and they let one guy through, and he was the one that turned Niles Paul back inside.
41 yards on the kick, 11 on the return. Nebraska takes over on their own 33-yard line. Just about 4 minutes gone by here in quarter number 3. We'll keep an eye on Roy Hello. Let's see if he can get on track like he did in the second half of last week's game. Ended up with 152 yards rushing, averaged about 9.5 yards a carry. But Lee's been in tempo. This time he gets it out to Hello. Skips over the 35, knocked out at the 37-yard line. That'll be a pickup of about 4 on the play.
Taken out of bounds by number 20.
Mario Davis shoving him out of bounds.
Zach Lee has been comfortable not only today but last week. And watch the protection. You basically don't see any white bodies coming through there. Helou was the receiver off to the left, and Sean Watson talks about getting outside of the defense. Ron, that's what getting outside the defense looks like.
And they call so many different formations. They force the defense to communicate an awful lot more than they normally do. Here's Hello getting the first down. That'll be considered a reception. That's considered a pass. Second time they've run that play. Second time it's been successful. And Mingo on the stop. Pick up of 9.
And anytime you're watching Nebraska, you have to keep an eye on how many different personnel packages. Offensive lineman's going to pull. Helu's going to end up going that direction. But this is about the 3rd different personnel package that Arkansas State has to look at. And it's almost dizzying to witness this in person. You just absolutely don't know where they're coming from. And on top of it, you have offensive linemen that can reestablish the line of scrimmage.
Lee keeps it after the fake, rolling right. Has McNeil pass, caught. It is Young. And he gets inside the 35-yard line. He had McNeil and Young, 2 tight ends. And that time Young got it, pickup of 20. Check, that was Niles Paul on the reception.
The play action pass, and Lee moves outside, and Niles Paul is going to be the offensive player running the route right there in the middle, and McNeil's behind him. Remember the interception that Zach Lee threw last week, and he underthrew the ball? It was the right guy, but the wrong ball. That was almost the wrong ball as well. Going to Niles Paul is where the ball should have gone, but he almost didn't get it over the defender.
Well, Carrington had a little tip of it. Here's Zach Lee going for 6 again. And McNeil, touchdown, Nebraska. Second touchdown reception for Mike McNeil, the junior out of Kirkwood, Missouri. It covered 32 yards, and again they picked on Cordarius Mingo, the cornerback.
I don't want to jump the gun, but Zach Lee is 19 out of 23 for 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. He throws the ball so incredibly accurately.
With very little effort. Extra point is good. 4 plays, 67 yards. It covered just over 1 minute and 35. So their first possession of the second half, Nebraska takes it down for pay dirt. 31-6 is our score. It's been a good day for Zach Lee. And 1st and 10 from the 34 inside of 12 minutes to play. Rex Burkhead getting a nice little hole right side, breaks through, crosses midfield up to the 50-yard line, a pickup of about 16 on the play. Nathan Harold coming up from that linebacker spot to make the stop.
This is one of the nuances in Nebraska's offense. Lineman's going to pull, back's going to set that direction to try to get the linebackers to flow right there, and they do. But here comes the big offensive lineman leading out front, and then Burkhead just takes it around the outside. Keith Williams does a nice job. He's in there now at that right guard position, steps around and leads Burkhead around the corner.
And this time Lee keeps it, and Arkansas State doesn't buy it. He may lose a half a yard on the play. Mario Davis on the snap.
Excuse me, Ronnie. What I was showing you is Nebraska's doing a lot more with movement of their offensive linemen that I think is the real big addition to this running scheme. They don't just do zone runs anymore up front. They mix it up in their zone running scheme. And you can see right there, all of the movement is to the right, and the quarterback keeps it and boots to the left. The play before, the running back set it to the left and then kept it and booted to the, or moved to the right with the line or an offensive lineman escorting him. That's the new nuance in Nebraska's scheme this year.
Mentally, Colt was wide to the left. Lee took a look at him. Now he's going to have to dump it off underneath the coverage over the 40 down to the 38-yard line, and Niles Paul. That'll pick up 13 yards on the play, and for Paul, that's reception number 4.
And Paul has certainly been one that Sean Watson has targeted today. We talked about that, but when you start to target a receiver, what happens is your quarterback understands maybe more quickly that that's a guy that I need to keep my eye on. And when Zach Lee got outside the pocket there, he did a nice job of keeping his head down the field and finding Niles Paul working back toward him on that play.
Now they'll go from the I formation. See Ben Cotton switching to the left side at tight end. Burkhead now alone in the backfield. And he has the pigskin, breaks a tackle, leans forward to the 35-yard line, pickup of 3. McKinnon on the stop again. Burkhead getting a lot of playing time. Once again, their basic plan was to get Roy Halou Jr. in some type of rhythm. When he gets tired, they go to the true freshman out of Plano, Texas. I don't know if Roy's tired today, though.
No, I don't know that he is either, but I think you've talked about Roy not having rhythm, and we see Jacob Hickman, number 67, the starting center, walking off there a little gingerly. That's a guy they can't afford to lose.
No.
You have Mike Caputo that Sean Watson really considers a starter, has the ability to start at center, but Hickman, first of all, he's the starting center in there for a reason.
Right.
But he's also essentially the backup guard. If they had an issue at the guard position, Hickman can go back to guard with Caputo's ability to step into the center position.
Caputo 6'1", 275, a sophomore out of Omaha. Kent, you got more on him?
Well, I just wanted to make the point. Richie Incognito, who is a pretty good offensive lineman here, said of Caputo, he has the best technique of any center I've ever seen on the college or pro level.
Wow.
Wow. Hell, he came here as a walk-on, just got a scholarship before this season. Now Zach Lee, the quick look in, passes complete up to the 34-yard line. Again, Niles Paul. So Paul, who had only 2 receptions last week, his role has obviously increased this week.
Caputo's in there now in pass protection, doing a nice job of keeping his pad levels low, and that initial surge by the defensive lineman is what the offensive lineman eventually has to catch up with. Initially, it looks like he's going to be overpowered, but the good ones can sit their butt down and get the hands in the chest and make up for it.
Well, Scott, our spotter, just told me that Caputo's his roommate, and I wrote him, give me some dirt on him. He shook his head no. That's a good roommate, isn't it? Zach Lee throws it wide open to Drew Young, gets down inside the 5-yard line. Marcus Brown on the coverage, but they are using a lot of tight ends today.
Yeah.
That one picked up 26 for Drew Young, his first catch of 2009.
I think all the tight ends that are on the roster have played in this game, and Young's on this side. You can see him run out of the corner there, going to the corner of the play, and you have an offensive guy running a route to the flat, but use of tight ends creates flexibility in your offensive scheme if you have guys that can set the edge in the run game, but also get out of their stance and run around and catch the football. What a great group of weapons at the tight end position for Nebraska.
And another great throw by Zach Lee, who throws another touchdown. Niles Paul on the reception, and Zach Lee chalk up another 6, and they picked on Greg Smith, the corner, this time. I tell you, you can't say enough about Zach Lee. I know it's not Big 12 and all that, but just his composure, number 1, and his accuracy, number 2 today, Kelly, has been very impressive.
Yeah, I think you're right. How many times, I think about every time he's gone to the right place, but then the arm talent he shows once he gets there is just very, very impressive.
340 yards passing the football today, 27 of 35, 4 touchdown passes for Zach Lee. Niles Paul gets that one. 8:14 to play in the ball game. Huskers have it in hand, 38-9.
Given what your objectives were this week, you wanted fewer penalties, you wanted to be more physical, better tempo. What'd you think?
I think we accomplished it at times. I think we got to work on the consistency. There's still I thought we played sloppy at times. I think on defensively, we didn't tackle real well. We had some leak yardage, but overall it was a solid effort. But just like any other time, there's some things we got to get fixed to go to Blacksburg next week.
Unfair to ask this until you get to see the tape, but just on first blush, better today?
I thought better, but nowhere near where we need to be. And that's part of the deal. We got a young football team, but I think our kids are coming. They're working hard at it, and the ceiling's high, but we just got to keep working.
Bo, in terms of what is waiting for you next Saturday, those specific challenges, did you see the kind of things you need to see today to equip you to win the game?
A little bit different football team than what we're going to see next week, style-wise and everything, but we'll be ready next week. Our kids are looking forward to going out there and playing a heck of a football team, but we got to make sure we get fixed what we need to get fixed and go in there and give it our best shot, and I'm looking forward to it. I know our football team will be too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huskers